Welcome to Fort Ticonderoga. Happy Labor Day weekend. I don't know who's on the weather committee, but thank you. It's been a pretty wet summer here, so it's nice to finish up with some nice dry weather. My name's Rich. I'm the Director of Education here at Fort Ticonderoga, and I'm going to run through the loading and firing of an 18th century musket. Eventually I'm going to need a volunteer to assist me, so pay attention and see if you think you want to be a volunteer for me. I'm going to be demonstrating the firing of what's called a Brown Bess model musket. It's a musket used in the British Army through the end of the French and Indian War and up through the beginning of the American Revolution. And because all the Americans are really British too, this is the primary weapon that the Americans are using during the first part of the American Revolution. After 1778, when they sign an alliance with France, a lot of the American units start using French-made muskets during the end of the American Revolution. This is a muzzle-loading flintlock musket. Muzzle-loading, everything that comes out of it has to go in it at the muzzle, so you have to load it here. It's flintlock because the form of ignition is a piece of flint in the lock, hitting a piece of steel to create the spark. This is called the pan. You put a little bit of a small charge of powder in the pan. You close the pan. When you pull the trigger, the lock hits the frizzen, throws it open. This is a piece of flint. When it hits the frizzen made out of steel, what does it make? Sparks. Sparks drops on your small charge here, which explodes. There's a hole or a vent into the main barrel. The explosion goes through that vent and explodes your main charge here in the barrel, shooting the musket out. We don't fire actual musket balls because that's not a great thing to be doing. No live fire ranges here. We fire a blank round. Blank round here. Normally, in the very bottom here would be the musket ball. We don't have the musket ball in here, just the powder charge. It's made of paper. They'd be pre-made. If you're in the British Army, these would have been pre-made back in England. And this is actually something women could do to help the war effort. Women and children have daintier fingers, a little more adept at rolling cartridges than men's big stubby fingers. So back on the home front in Britain, you might have women and children rolling. You wouldn't want today children playing with black powder, but that was one of their contributions to the war effort. In the Continental Army during the American Revolution, most of the cartridges are being made by the men in the Army themselves in their spare time. There's a lot of downtime in the Army. For every day you fight, you got about 360 days of not fighting and trying to keep out of trouble. Shouldn't have gotten that out because now it's hard to get back in there without seeing it. Okay, in the beginning of the American Revolution, before Baron von Steuben comes over and teaches the Americans a new drill, a new way of firing and loading and firing, the American Army is using the same techniques the British are. It's called the 1764 drill. Most American soldiers have had to serve in the militia before the war, and so at that point, when they're all good British citizens, they're using the same drill as the British are. One of the challenges with the 1764 drill is it counts on the men knowing a lot. There's one command, prime and load, that takes them through the whole process of loading the musket. Von Steuben breaks that down into step-by-step directions because they're dealing with new recruits all the time, and that way they can't mess up. I'm going to go through a mock loading and firing, and then I'm going to ask somebody to help give me the commands to do a real fire. First thing is standing at attention, prime and load. Take your musket down, you put it in the half-cocked position. Make sure your frizzen, your pan is open. You reach around, take out a cartridge. You bite off the top of the cartridge. You have to have two opposable teeth to be in the Army for that. The reason is, if you use your hands, you're starting to try to do this. You could drop your musket. It's just a lot quicker to bite down. You pour a little bit of the powder in the pan, close the pan, turn the musket around, pour the rest of the powder down the barrel, then put the cartridge in, take out your ramrod, ram it down, take out your ramrod, return it, then back on your shoulder. That's all prime and load. That's why Baron von Steuben added a whole bunch of things later so that that happens with a little more regularity. The next command is make ready. At that point you hold the musket like this, you put it from the half-cocked position, into the full cock position. Now it's ready to fire. Then it's present, and then fire. Notice it's not aim, it's present. These muskets are not terribly accurate. If I'm shooting at somebody standing by the flagpole, I'm probably not going to hit them. The effective range is about 50 yards. That's why the tactics are hundreds of men shooting at hundreds of men. If I present, point it in the general direction, and myself and 80 other guys fire, we're going to hit some of those 80 guys over there shooting back at us. There are rifles in use during the American Revolution. Rifles are much more accurate. They have an effective range about 200 yards. So why don't they all use rifles? Well, you can load and fire a musket in 20 seconds. It takes 2 to 3 minutes to load a rifle. A rifle is a rifle barrel, and because everything has to be loaded through the muzzle, you've got to load that and force that bullet all the way down all the grooves to the base. It takes a long time. It's great to go out there and be able to shoot at the British 200 yards away, but then while you're trying to load up, they can close in on that 200 yards pretty quick and get you before you're able to reload. So rifles are used in very specific instances. Usually they are advance and then withdraw behind the cover of the port slobs with the muskets. Also, muskets can have bayonets placed on them, rifles cannot. So even if I can't fire with my musket, with a bayonet on here, I've got an edged weapon that I can fend off or attack with as well. Okay, somebody think they can give me orders? My wife doesn't succeed too often, but you want to try? Okay, first thing you're going to have to do is say prime and load. Then when it looks like I'm all done, you want to say make ready, present, and then fire, okay? I'm going to stand this way so I'm not pointing at anybody.
Prime and load. Fire.
Oh, just a second. Powder doesn't taste very good, but sometimes I don't bite down far enough the first time.
Doesn't the powder fall?
Make ready.
Make ready.
Present. Present.
Present. Fire.
Hey, very nice job, thank you. You've got officer material written all over you. Officers have to give orders. Privates just have to follow them. Anybody have any questions? Yes?
What's the reason for having the gently fighting where you would have one line come shoot, then the other one come back, and everybody just stands there waiting to be shot at?
Well, it all has
drummers,
to
they're
do
drumming.
discipline. You're dealing with fairly uneducated privates at that point. So they, it's just linear tactics, and it's not necessarily waiting to be shot at. You just keep firing as soon as you can. And the goal is to try to get off your volley before they shoot back at you. But it's just what you do in a big open area. And actually, those are the tactics that eventually won the war for us. There's the myth that the Americans just hid behind trees. That doesn't win the war. It's as the Continental Army gets trained better and can actually play this game the same way the British did, that they're finally able to win the revolution.